Hi, I am Susan M. Baggins, and I am a multi published author and editor. And I'm coming to you today to talk to you a little bit about the Rules of Engagement series that is coming out that I've co authored with my friend Dee Dee Lake. The first of 7 books is a Christmas novella coming out November 1st, 2022, and it is entitled Camouflage Christmas. And this was a really fun story to write with Dee Dee. It was fun to come up with the characters. And Dee Dee is lifelong military. She was a military brat. She married an Army pilot. And I have nothing to do with the military other than a very deep admiration and gratitude for those who do serve and have served. My grandfather was in World War II, and he actually wrote a little memoir during his time there. It's a very short read, but it is available, and it's called Journey to Lekapani, and you can find it on Amazon. James B. Pollard, Pollard, is the author, and I believe right now the Kindle version is still free. I'm probably going to keep it that way for a while, kind of as just a teaser for those who are liking our blog and checking in here. But anyway, how did we come to write, first of all, a series? This is kind of cool. Dee Dee and I met years ago, longer than we want to admit, because it seems like the years fly by faster than we'd like. And Dee Dee and I met at the Colorado Christian Writers Conference in Estes Park, Colorado. I was there as faculty. Dee Dee was there for her first time as a wannabe author. And she was my first appointment of the day. And I'm not going to share the full story of that, but what emerged out of that was a deep friendship that has developed over the years. And Dee Dee pitched to me a story that day, a military romance story. And I was intrigued, but she hadn't written it yet. So every year, Dee Dee, where is that story? Dee Dee, where is that story? Then finally in 2018, we had spent some time together, and then we were driving up to Estes Park, and we started talking a little bit about the military romances that she had wanted to do. And I think the real core issue for Dee Dee was she was afraid. And a lot of authors get like this. I'm afraid sometimes to write, and I've written a lot of books. You're afraid you can't put the characters on the page, can't get it right, that you're going to make mistakes. And the fact is, that's all true. Sometimes the characters don't come to life. Sometimes we need a lot of rewrites. Sometimes we do make mistakes and we have to start all over again. But that day, I don't know, the Holy Spirit nudged and said, offer to write them with her. Now, I'd never co authored anything, and I had a lot of stuff on my plate already, but I just blurted out and said, hey, why don't we write them together? And she's like, are you serious? Yeah, actually, I am. A little afraid, but serious. So after we got home from the conference, and I went back to Wisconsin, and she returned to her place near Colorado Springs in Colorado, and I had to kind of beg, and she finally sent me all of her files that she had compiled, all the character sketches, the start of a story, um, different ideas for the story, and I looked at it all. I mean, I have a binder with this stuff in it. And I said, I think you have more than one story here. And so I proposed a series of 5 books based on the characters in this one family. And so she kind of liked that idea. And I started to work on the first story, which was actually a really big challenge because I write by the seat of my pants. I usually have kind of a vague idea of where I'm going and the characters, and I always write happily ever after endings, so I know it's going to be a good ending. I just don't know what that's going to look like until I get there. I guess you could say my stories are more character driven than plot driven, but plot is important. Now, Dee Dee, on the other hand, is a planner or a plotter. So that first book was actually really hard for me to write. It was difficult because I'm trying to take something she already started and mold it and transform it. I mean, there were timing issues, there were different plot ideas that weren't going to quite work out in the way that she wanted them to, as I wrote. So it took a little longer for me to write that first full length novel, which comes out next March, 2023. It's called Allegiance. And so, anyway, we worked on it and got it out. And it's, like I said, it's coming out. When I worked on book two, Reconnaissance, that was a lot easier because we did a lot of the planning and plotting together, which was very loosely done. So there was enough room for me as a pantster to work. And my challenge became that if I could surprise Dee Dee, who already kind of knew what the plot was, then I figure I can surprise the reader. Now, all of these novels have taken a lot of research for me and even for Dee Dee, even though she's married to an Army guy, retired. Seth is wonderful. Um, it takes a lot of research. We've had so many Zoom calls. COVID, kind of birthed the Zoom meeting, and we've recorded some of those so that I could go back and even with all my chicken scratch notes, try to figure out what again did they say about this and what did they say about that. Getting ranks right, getting the series of things right. How can somebody be promoted within the military and how that happens? What it might be like to live in Seoul, Korea, or have Christmas there. I have no clue. So, I mean, I can do a lot of research, but I'm not military. So it was definitely an interesting time, and it still is because we've got a few more books to write. Then we wrote Camouflage Christmas as a prequel to the entire series because the publisher, Cross River Media, said that they thought that would be kind of cool. And they're actually releasing it in print as well, which is awesome. For those of you who like having print copies or want a print that you can give as a gift, I mean, that's very cool. So we worked on that as well, which again, I had to do a lot of research. Even though it's a shorter story, it's Officer Candidate School. I think I said that right, OCS. Um, See, I still get it all confused. It's just part and parcel of somebody who hasn't lived that life. But I will say there's a few things I've learned. I've learned that there is a lot of benefit to the structure of the military. It has benefited a lot of people very well. And that structure has, in many cases, provided some great excellence in the way the work is done to defend our country, or in the case of that story, even to look at military medical services. We're trying to hit a lot of different things, but it's really kind of cool that somebody who wants to work in the military still has to go through all that officer training. It's not just medical school. It's so much more than that. And these people are being trained to be leaders, and they're trained to respect authority. And yeah, there's a few bad apples in every group, and you encounter some of them in our stories even. But it's kind of neat to link that with faith. And how does somebody live out faith in the midst of that? Whether it's, in combat, or which we haven't done a combat story yet, necessarily, not quite military combat, but a little bit. It's not, I lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you get older. You start on a stream and I don't have any notes. I'm flying. But anyway, I hope that you will check out Camouflage Christmas. We wrote it as a prequel. We wrote it to be kind of a teaser for the entire series. So there's 5 novels in this series, 5 full-length novels. So we have the prequel, or book 1, which is Camouflage Christmas. And then we have the full-length novel, Allegiance. Then we've got Reconnaissance. I have to look at my list, so sorry. Skirmish, Expedition, and Ambush. So we're enjoying tackling some difficult concepts that people in the military and sometimes even people in regular life deal with, but always from a faith perspective. So I don't think we're trying to beat people over the head with the gospel, but it's there in those words, in those stories. So we're hoping these books would be an opportunity for people to find themselves in the pages of the book, or like me, have a deeper appreciation for the life that these people and their families live and the struggles that they go through. So Camouflage Christmas, coming out November 1st, 2022. And I hope you will check it out. And if you like the story, please leave us a review on Amazon and Goodreads and let us know. Check out our blog, Rules of Engagement Military Romance.com. Long title, I know. We also have a fan page group on Facebook that you can join, and a lunch team. If you're interested, you can just email us at d2andsusan@gmail.com if you are interested in even being featured on our blog, because our blog features real life stories of military brats, spouses, veterans, and those who are actively serving. So, thank you for joining me here, and I just pray that you will be blessed by these books. Thank you.